Okay, what do you say?
He'll give the green screen and everything.
I could get it going for you. Listen, a small charge. I told them if they want to steal my computer, they're better off trying to take one of my children.
When the rough started here a year ago, I had this.
Minahani mili. What time is mincha?
19.
Minahani mili. Let's go.
I think now it's
So we're in the middle of discussing the source that a sukkah that is above the 20 amos is possible, as we had a machlokes in the Mishnah between the Tanakama and Rav Yehuda. Tanakama said l'mal me'esmama psula. Rav Yehuda said is kosher, simchas. Said the Gemara, Minahani Mili. We already learned the first source, but we're going to pick it up from there. Minahani Mili, we're about 13 lines into Beis Amud Aleph. First one on line is Diloi. Minahani Mili mem non hey mem. Amar Rabba. This is what we learned already. Amar Kra, it says in the Torah, that you shall know that you're dwelling in a sukkah. Esther Mama till 20 amos adiyum day shidar b'sukkah. However, this is hopefully Chazar time number 10. We're going slightly faster. For those that it isn't, it should be. No, I'm joking. But you'll all get there. Esther Mama, at least you learned it once. Adiyum day shidar b'sukkah. Rabbi Eisenstein, I love your name. Esther Mama adiyum day shidar b'sukkah. Rabbi Avrami, not Josh. Until 20 amos, you know that you're living in a sukkah. L'malim Esther Mama. Was?
Josh is for work.
Josh is for work. Okay, it's okay. We could listen. Rabbi Cooper's been on iPhone 7 for years. No one knows why. One day he'll get an upgrade. Until 20 amos, you know you're in a sukkah. Why? Mishom deloy shalta ba'inok. Your eye doesn't see so high. Teretz number 1 of Rabbah. You don't know, your eye does not see above 20. Teretz number 1. Teretz number 2.
We see the same concept by Chanukah.
By same concept by Chanukah, very good. Above 20 amos doesn't work. Beautiful. Rav Zera Amar says Rav Zera Mehach. Source number 2. The sukkah tia litzel. Your sukkah should be for shade. Yoimam mechayrev. In the daytime from the desert heat. Mechayrev, or from the heat. Ad Esther Mama, so up till 20 amos, Adam Yoshev Bitzel Sukkah. You are sitting in the shade of the sukkah. Lamala me Esther Mama, if the sukkah is so tall, Ein Adam Yoshev Bitzel Sukkah. You're not sitting in the shade of the sukkah. What? Yes, you are. You're. Oh, Ella, very good. Ella Bitzel Defanois. You're sitting in the shade of the walls. This is a scientific fact. So all those that when we learned about that the sun, spreads in the bottom, you all seem to be very good in the silence. I think Rabbi Senderovich, you are a science maven in the way that the shade and sun worked. I professed my ignorance in biology and all other things. I'm the only one here that has a BS in biology. Okay, kach, it happens. What should I tell you? It's been years. But Lamaisa, if it's till 20, what are you sitting in? You're sitting in the shade of the Succah. Above 20, what's giving you the shade? What's giving you the shade is the walls. And therefore, the fact that the walls are giving you the shade, that is the problem. And here we're seeing again what we saw back in that end of the Mishnah and Rashi, that the name of a sukkah comes from where? The Succah. Because one would say, I don't understand. I'm getting shade. Why do you care if the shade is from the Succah, if the shade is on the walls? Who cares? You see clearly that the detail over here is that where does the shade come from? The Succah. And once it's above 20, that the shade is not from the Succah, and most times of the day, because obviously there will be a few moments of the day that the shade does come from the Succah, but okay, at most times of the day, therefore it is not a good sukkah. Asks the Gemara. Omar le Abaye. This is the answer of Rav Zera. Abaye comes along and asks Abaye Elameata. Rather now, based on what you Rav Zera just taught us, he says to Kasai, if you make your sukkah ba'ashtarois karnayim. Ashtarois karnayim is a place. What is unique about the place Ashtarois karnayim? So if you look at Rashi, the first very wide line of Rashi. Rashi says, Shnei Harim Gedalim, 2 large mountains. V'hishpala beinehem, and there's a a cavity, there's a descent, there's a lowering between them, what we call in English a valley. Umitoich goiva haharim, and due to the height of these two mountains, says Rashi, ein chama zeireches sham b'shifla. The sun doesn't hit the bottom. If I have two big mountains and I'm in the middle over here, I don't get any sun. Why? Because I'm shielded by the mountains around me. So asks Abaya, based on what you, Rav Zera, just taught me, that my schach needs to give me shade. If I make a sukkah in this valley, hachanami, are you going to tell me, is this also, hachanami, this also, deloi have sukkah? It's not a good sukkah? Again, let's appreciate Abaya's question. Abaya just said, you, Rav Zera, what did you teach me? That if I have a sukkah, that the schach is not giving the shade. It's shady. You're sitting in the sukkah, beautifully shady. But where does the shade come from? Not the schach, the walls. So says Abaya, 1 second. What if your sukkah is in a locale, a location that as well, what gives you the shade? Not the schach. What gives you the shade? The mountains.
Which is the walls.
Which seemingly, in Abaya's question, very good, is the same thing as the walls. So as Abaya, are you going to tell me? So what's bothering Abaya? So you can tell me what every sukkah we're going to start. I'll give you this another example. If I make a sukkah on like the side of a building, so that no sun hits me. There's always like those parts of your house. It's not a good sukkah. It's wild. It says, how could this be? How could this be?
Same thing we had in the other Gemara in second paragraph about Rai or not Rai.
Oh, very good, very good. I think what you're saying is the Gemara starts. Let's see the Gemara starts. Amar lei. So responds Rav Zera. So this was Abaya's question to Rav Zera. Amar lei. Hasam, over there in the case of making your sukkah in this valley of Ashtarois Karnayim. Dal means to remove. Remove. How do I know that? Because my Gemara says the word remove. Some Gemaras come with it, others you have to write it in. Mine I had to write it in, but listen, that was that was one of the perks of actually learning in high school, is that you wrote all the words in, and now I get to have them years later. Dal, Ashtarois, Karnaim. It probably was in high school, it probably was recently, but either way. Dal, Ashtarois, Karnaim. Remove the mountains, the Ashtarois, Karnaim. What are you left with? Ikasel Sukkah. The Sukkah in a vacuum. The Sukkah in itself is giving you shade. Just the mountains are blocking it. As I think, Ari, so you're pointing out, that it's Raleigh. It is a sukkah. Gauge this sukkah as it is. The sukkah itself gives shade. It's the location that's an issue. So remove the location. And you have a sukkah. Hacha, in our case, dal defanais, when you get rid of the walls, leka tzel sukkah. You do not have the shade of the sukkah. What does it mean you don't have the shade of the sukkah house if you remove the walls? Because the schach is too high. Schach is too high.
Mostly there's no walls.
Meaning you have no shade because there's no walls, and the schach can't give you the shade because it's too high.
Right, but,
So the
but
thing
you
is
also
that-
need walls in a sukkah. If
Correct.
you don't have
So it's a good question. That's a very good question.
And the schach needs to be lower than 20 hours.
Very good.
If I have 4.
Beautiful. The Gemara is going to talk about that. What if
you have
my
people who put the
Yes.
wall of their house
yes,
as a wall
yes.
of their house.
Beautiful. The Gemara is going to talk about that. Clearly, very good. It's a din in the schach. What you're mentioning bothered me also. And I'll explain what the answer is, but it bothered me. Dal defanis like a sel sukkah, dal defanis like a sukkah. You have some reform sukkah, go to...
No. The
well,
test is on the set.
meaning?
They're checking where is the shade coming from.
Meaning you're saying, Eino Chanami, there's also no sukkah.
Yeah, no,
But that's not our detail. Very good. 100%. Very good. That's what I want to explain. Very good. The Gemara is honing in on the litmus test of a sukkah. What's the barometer? The shade. How do you figure out the shade? Get rid of all external factors and figure out the shade. So answers Rav Zera, my answer is good, and that is source number 2, that a sukkah cannot be above 20 amos, is what? The sukkah tia litzel yoma mechayev, and you need to be within the shade. Above 20, there is no shade. That is teretz number 2. Teretz number 3, the Rava Amar. Number 1 was Rabbah, number 2 is Rav Zera, number 3 is Rava. Rava Amar mehach. But this pasuk hopefully sound familiar. But you have to live in a sukkah for 7 days. Amra Torah, says the Torah, Kol shivas hayamim, for the entirety of the 7 days. Say, go out. Meidiras keva, from your permanent dwelling. Leave your home, vishev, and reside and live, bediras arai, in your temporary dwelling. That part we knew. We've seen this numerous times. That we learn out from this pasuk that the Sukkah is all about. Is all about the Sukkah. That was me. It wasn't you. I kicked over the table. Sukkah was all about the Sukkah and not your house. So what does that have to do with 20 amos? Says the Gemara, Ad esrim amo, until 20 amos. Adam oise dirasarai. Until 20 amos, the structure is temporary. Until 20 amos, that is by its nature. A person makes it a temporary structure. Limala me esrim amo. Once a building is above 20 amos, ein adam oise dirasarai. No one makes such a structure a temporary type structure. Ella diras keva. Rather, it is a permanent structure by its very nature. Yes.
We obviously discussed in the second paragraph there were Rabbi Yehuda held
good.
It was, and Rabbi Shimon held that they were. It was a diras keva.
Good. So what do we see? We see very good. We see we don't pass like if you didn't Rav Shimon, and we see that the Chachamim are disagreeing. And very good. And if you look at our Mishnah, who is the opinion that held above 20 is good? Rav Yehuda, beautiful, very good. But so again, 3 Terusim. We're going to stop here to give ourselves 4 minutes to Chazer, as these are the Gemaras in Sukkah. 3 sources. Let's speak it outside. 3 sources that your Sukkah has to be under 20. Number 1, Laman Yedu Daraseichem. You have to know you're in a Sukkah. You only know when you're under 20. Number 2, Rav Zera. The Sukkah has to be Litzel. There's only Shavitz under 20. Number 3 is Rava. The Sukkah has to be temporary. If it's in the more than 20, it's not alright. Is there anything that bothers someone by the last answer? Oh, very good. You know the Gemara's Kasha. We'll stop over here.